Folks, it's my coach used to say it's go-to time. It's go time now.
Welcome to the Kyle Olson Show. We're getting down to the wire in the 2020 presidential campaign. Energy is building in Michigan for President Trump's re-election. We saw that during his recent rally near Saginaw. I'm so glad to have Hogan Gidley, National Press Secretary for the president's campaign, joining me now. So the president had a big win this week with the Big Ten football season finally starting. What difference do you think that will make?
It'll have a big difference, I think, in reminding people just where this president stands on a whole host of issues. We want the country to get back up and running again. We want it to be safe, though, and be done the right way. A lot of other conferences, as you know, the ACC, the SEC, we're going to play. And I think a lot of folks on the ground in a lot of the Big Ten states were a little concerned and wanted to see football. Look, we all want a release at this point. My goodness, we've been dealing with this coronavirus now for 9 months. It's been a significant part of our lives. It's caused so much death. It's caused damage to our livelihoods. And you know, I think a lot of people just wanted a release. And the president was excited about the potential to see some college football out there. He's kind of become a really big college football fan as president. He was more of a pro guy before. But I think he's really started to love and respect the college game. And when he saw the Big Ten wasn't playing, he wanted to reach out to him and say, look, we'll provide you guys with whatever you need, testing, however you want it. We just need to make sure that we get these kids out there in a safe way, if at all possible. So thankfully, that worked out. And we're going to be seeing some football soon.
Yeah, that's good. And I know we're looking forward to it here. Our governor, of course, Governor Gretchen Whitmer, she was sort of the last holdout. And apparently there was just too much pressure. The president, of course, was putting on pressure. And so finally it's happening. So that's good. The president tweeted my Breitbart story on Thursday about Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson screwing up ballots being sent to overseas troops. Vice President Pence was omitted completely, totally missing from the ballot. The president said Benson did it intentionally. What do you think the motivation was?
I don't know her intentions, and I've not spoken directly with the president about this, but I can tell you it often seems that whenever mistakes are made, whether they be in the media, whether it be by tech giants, whether it be by social media outlets, whatever it is, a Secretary of State and a ballot, it always seems to advantage the Democrats. It always cuts against the president. And so, you know, the people out there can draw their own conclusions. But as we move into a really, really tight election, people are on edge because of coronavirus. People, want to see this election go off in a manner that protects the sanctity of your own vote and of the election. It's quite concerning when stories like this start to pop up, but it's not not unpredictable. We've been talking about this for a while now, and these types of issues that they're seeing in this particular instance is not a good one. Not good for anybody. It definitely sows seeds of doubt into our process, and we want to make sure that every single vote that is cast is cast in the right way. We want to make sure that people receive the ballots they're supposed to receive, and it looks like this was a massive mistake on the part of the Secretary of State.
Well, and to that point, a Michigan judge ruled on Friday that ballots may be accepted and counted up to 2 weeks after the election. There were other rulings in Pennsylvania this week, dropping some of the safeguards to ensure election integrity. At least that's what they're designed to do. It seems to me the rules are being changed in the final days of an already highly contentious election, and it will just sow seeds of doubt about the outcome. What is your reaction to these rulings?
A few things. Democrats always accuse Republicans of doing things they themselves are actually guilty of doing. For example, they said this president colluded with Russia. That wasn't true, but the Democrats used a dossier from Russia and used British intelligence to attack the president. So they were the ones colluding. Second is they say things like President Trump will never accept the results of an election, but it was Hillary Clinton who never accepted the results and actually told Joe Biden openly and publicly that he should not concede to Donald Trump if he loses the election. Here is no different. They've accused this president of trying to move the date of the election. That's not true. But they themselves are suing in at least 10 states to try and get votes counted after Election Day. And what you just pointed out is a great example of that. Nevada has codified it into law. So you can get the ballot and vote on Wednesday, conceivably, as long as you get it in by Friday in Nevada. And it looks like Michigan is doing some of the same stuff. Pennsylvania is looking at some of the court cases there too, because Democrats have this idea that if they can send out ballots in prepaid envelopes from the government, they know that when that ballot and that envelope gets back to the post office, that the post office doesn't scan prepaid envelopes with a date. So there's no way to know when that ballot was cast. So theoretically, in the states you're talking about, you could wake up on Wednesday morning and see, wow, Donald Trump's ahead by 100 votes. I'm going to go find 101 votes. And by law in those states, you can now get them, find them, and cast the ballot after Election Day. It absolutely is fraught with fraud, waste, and the potential for massive abuse.
You're exactly right. In Oakland County, which is one of the most, swing counties in the state of Michigan, the county board of commissioners voted to send applications and ballots to people with those very same pre-approved or prepaid envelopes that are not postmarked. That's what's significant about that. They are not postmarked. So if they can figure out how to get ballots after Election Day to figure out what difference they need to make up, I mean, this is just, it's hard to believe that this is what's happening, but the Democrats are leading this. Now, there were eyewitness accounts from Detroit after the August primary that the city wasn't prepared to handle the number of absentee ballots, and as many as 20,000 votes were counted after 2 a.m., just pushed through the machines without being verified. Are you concerned that Democrats may try to steal the election in places like Detroit?
Absolutely. Only because of past being prologued. The fact is, the Secretary of State in Washington State said if you want to do universal mail-in voting, which is done in 5 of the states in this country, but they've been doing it for a long time, that Secretary of State said it's going to take 5 to 10 years to get it right. Democrats are trying to change our entire voting system in 5 to 10 weeks. You cannot reasonably expect any entity to count votes by the tens of millions in a manner in which they've never done before, just a few weeks out before an election. We saw congressional districts in New York that it took them 6 weeks to find out the winner, and they were small, just several thousand votes. We saw issues in New Jersey as well, where they had to kick out tens of thousands of ballots. That's just with a handful of people voting in congressional districts. When you make this thing nationwide and you start just sending out ballots in the mail, there was an instance just the other day where someone got 2 ballots. I believe it was in North Carolina. This is going to happen, and it's going to be a problem, and it's going to sow massive doubt in the outcome of this election. But again, it's as though the Democrats use their accomplices in the media to push a narrative, as a smokescreen of here's what they are doing while it's the Democrats who are working to upend our election system. It's egregious, and I want people like you and others to continue to call them out and show exactly what they're doing in the shadows.
So what is the Trump campaign doing to try and preserve election integrity?
Well, we are in these states that they are suing us, and we are fighting back. We're winning a lot of these cases as well, trying to protect the integrity of our election system. That's something we've been a part of for a long time. I know over at the White House before I left and came to the campaign, they had focused so greatly on foreign interference and preventing that from happening again when the Biden administration just didn't even think twice and let it happen. This president put a whole of government approach in place to prevent foreign entities from attacking our election system, including adding in the FBI, Department of Homeland Security, and others to pressure test, machines at local levels so that it would be safe and secure. But now it's like that joke or that horror movie. The calls coming from inside the house. The Democrats are now doing this, in this country, and that's a serious problem. And we're onto it, and we know we're not going to let it happen. We're fighting in all these states, as I mentioned, in court, and also exposing the Democrats for what they're trying to do. They can't get away with this. We won't let them get away with this. And if enough people revolt, they'll understand that they have to put on an election that is free and fair, and that allows every single person who casts a vote for that vote to count.
Hogan Gidley, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it.